Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Meredith E. Phillips, and today we're going to be vlogging and doing some brainstorming. A couple little notes first. One resource I want to share with you, and then just two little hey, in case you missed it. I did launch the critique partner matchup last week, so if you missed that video, I'll link it below. It's going really well so far. As of this morning, I think we have 25 people who have actually filled out the questionnaire, and they're in it. So if that's you, I'm glad you're in there. If you missed it, again, the video will be linked below. It's open for the foreseeable future. I don't have any plans to close it down. Definitely come back to it later if you're not quite ready for a critique partner yet, but that is open and available for you. The second thing I posted last week was my first querying vlog, which I was really excited to share with you guys. Thank you for all of the excitement and encouragement in the comments. It's been going good so far this week. I will have a new video on how everything's going with that when I actually have major updates to give you, I guess. It's a very slow process. You're waiting to hear back from people. It could be weeks, it could be months before you hear back from them. So what I'm planning to do is kind of vlog little bits of information as I go on random days where there's actually updates to give you, and then compile that into one vlog and post it. So be looking for that sometime, hopefully in the next month or so. Month and a half, I don't know, we'll see. But that was a really fun vlog to edit and put together, so I'll link that below if you missed it. And finally, the resource I wanted to share with you is actually a podcast. I don't listen to a whole bunch of podcasts just because it just doesn't work for me most of the time. But Julie Fafian Balzer is an artist based in Boston. I have followed her for probably 10 years now, maybe more than 10 years, frankly. It's been a long time. I really love her artwork, and she has an art-centered podcast that she does with her mom, and they have a really fun dynamic. And she released a new episode this past week on creating an art practice. And even though she's an artist, she does painting and she does mixed media and she does all kinds of that kind of stuff, visual arts, I guess you would say. Even though she's mainly talking about visual art practice, it totally still applies to writers. And I got some fun little tips and ideas from that. So I'll link that podcast below if you want to go check it out. It was a good listen for me. Today though, we're going almost the opposite of querying. We are in brainstorming mode. The story I'm querying is obviously done, so there's nothing really to do with that at the moment. And I've started working on a new project. It is very much in the brainstorming stage at this point. There are some vibes, the vibes are immaculate, but you can't write a book of vibes. That doesn't usually work out very well, so I have to have an actual plot and characters and stuff like that. So I've just been trying to brainstorm. This past week hasn't been great for brainstorming, unfortunately. I have been getting up at my normal 5:30 wake up time. But there's a certain little dog in the house who thinks that 5:30 is also her wake up time, which it is not. And if you ignore her, then she pees in the bed, and we don't like that. But if she actually gets up out of bed, then she's barking and being a dog and running around and being distracting. So that's been a little frustrating. I have not gotten to work for my solid hour in the morning. I think I did it one day this week. So that's been tough. I'm hoping I can get some good headway made in this story though, because like I said, right now it's really bare bones. I have sort of a general premise. I know what the first chapter is going to be though, which I'm excited about, but how do the characters end up in this situation? Why did they agree to this situation? What do they want? What are their motives? All those really super basic plot and character kind of things. I don't have any of that straightened out yet, so yeah, that's what we're working on. So what have I managed to get done this week? Well, I have taken quite a few notes. I've asked myself a lot of questions. There is one piece of the story that I'm pretty set on. I really want to use it, and it involves the Royal Academy Summer Exhibition. I had never heard of this, and then I forget where I even saw it mentioned, and then I was like, this is so cool. So anyway, they still do it to this day. It started in 1768, 69, somewhere in there, and they have held it every single year since. World War I, they were still holding it. World War II, they did not miss a year. COVID, they didn't miss a year for that. Like, they have had it every single year since then, which is pretty cool. And it's an art exhibition that anyone can submit artwork to. It's open to the general public. There's a small fee you pay per piece that you enter, and then there's like a selection committee that actually picks which pieces are going to go on display, and then there's the exhibition where all the pieces are on display. So nowadays it's really cool because young up-and-coming artists can submit their work and hope that someone takes notice of it. It's a good way to put your name out there, get people to look at your stuff. The artwork is also for sale, and so, you know, you can hopefully sell your art if you get to that point. But anyway, I'm really hoping to use that as a plot point in this novel that I'm trying to conceive of. And of course, there's a lot of information about what the art exhibit is today, but I need to know what it was like in 1811, which is when I'm planning to set this story. So I've been doing tons of research, trying to nail things down, and I found the coolest thing. It is newspapers.com. If you are writing anything that has any kind of historical anything, this site is cool. It is digitized newspapers from around the world, from like the 1700s up through present, and you can search. They have a really great search function where you can type in any kind of word or phrase. You can narrow it down to a year or a year range. You can narrow it down to a country or a city that you're particularly wanting to find info from. And then you can read the newspaper articles. So I went on there hoping to find some really specific information about this exhibition, and I found the info I needed in these old newspapers, which was really cool. So I have that. The only little catch here, the only little catch with this website is it is a paid subscription thing. Of course, you can get a free 7-day trial, which is what I'm using right now. And I'm going to try to use the heck out of it this week because the subscription price is like $80 for 6 months. I'm not buying that. So I'm going to try to use it as much as I can this current week, find as much stuff as I can, clip, you know, screenshots of it to use later. But yeah, it's kind of pricey, which is annoying. And I'm annoyed they don't have like a month, you know, you can't just buy like a month at a time, because I'm like 6 months from now, I'm not going to be in this like heavy researching phase. I'm going to be hopefully, you know, have a draft at that point. I'm not going to need to use this as much. So I'm like annoyed they don't have, like, if it was just a month for like $20, like, okay, I would do that. But $80 for 6 months? No. So anyway, I'll link it below if you want to go check it out and, you know, do a free trial of some sort. But anyway, yeah, so really the name of the game this weekend is just brainstorming. We're just going to do a lot of thinking, and a lot of it is going to be just me sitting here in the chair thinking, which isn't like super exciting, but I'll try to take you along the way and sort of share where my brain is going, like in terms of like what questions am I asking myself, where does that lead me to look for answers, like that kind of thing. So let me go over here, get my document pulled up and get going. All right, so one of the main things I'm hoping to get like some kind of better direction on this weekend is the main conflict of the novel. You know, it's a romance novel, so there has to be some reason that these two characters can't or shouldn't be together. And then, like, that's what they're trying to move past or overcome. I don't know. I've got a lot of thinking to do, though, because there has to be some kind of situation here. I also need to develop the backstories. I have a pretty good idea of what her motives are. He's just sort of there at this point. Like, I don't know what he wants. I don't know what his deal is. So got a lot to work out. So yeah, let me try thinking about that conflict issue first and see what I can come up with. Okay, it is noon. I've been sitting here for a couple hours. You know, we've done some research. We've asked Google some questions. I have referenced some books over here. I've gotten like I'm making like little teeny baby steps. Like I'm getting like this little piece of information, or I'm thinking like, okay, like this thing seems cool. I'm gonna put that down. I don't feel like I've hit some kind of big epiphany moment or like a big key that unlocks like a whole bunch of different stuff for me. So we're just going to keep trucking along, asking ourselves questions. I'm definitely not taking like periodic breaks to look at Instagram. That would be totally irresponsible. So I'm not doing that. But yeah, it's just sort of slow going. I mean, I feel like in some ways you can't really rush this. It just sort of comes to you as it does. So I'm just reading stuff, you know, I find a lot of inspiration and ideas in, like I said earlier, reading over like those old newspapers and stuff like that, or reading little snippets of books, or Googling something and kind of getting a different sort of answer than I was looking for, but let me keep reading on this blog because it looks kind of cool. So, you know, it's just a lot of just sort of like looking around at different things to see what might fit, what might work, what sounds interesting. I'm not really hungry for lunch yet, so I'm going to keep going with this for a little while longer, and I'll check back in later. Okay, I've landed on maybe a little bit more of some internal motivation, internal conflict for one of the characters. So I'm kind of just exploring that. It's a lot of like, I don't know, typing out, this character feels this way because of this. Question mark, like, so my notes are still just like all over the place, but it is getting kind of late and I'm getting kind of hungry. So I'm gonna take a little break for lunch and then come back and keep using my noggin to nog some stuff out. All right, I'm sorry about that. Okay, lunchtime. Back from lunch. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to like do my classic, just tab down a whole bunch and kind of hide everything I've done so far. There's like an enormous string on this. Okay, hide what I've done so far and just sort of start writing out, first this happens and then this happens and then this happens, like that kind of thing. This document right now is so all over the place, it feels very scattered, and so there's questions I feel like I've already answered, but I forgot that I answered them because it's just hidden in all of this mess. So let me try to organize my thoughts a little better so that I'm not running circles around myself, and see where that gets me. I'm feeling good about what I was working on right before lunch. I think that'll be an interesting direction to go. So I'll follow that and see where it goes. Okay, let's do a little summary for myself. Okay, I think this is actually going pretty good. I don't know how many words I wrote. Hold on. What did I do here? I wrote 1,200 words. Okay. And it's definitely helping me sort of narrow things down. I'm getting to... I kind of wrote out like some of the backstory stuff that would have happened like before the story begins. And then I've kind of written to like, I think what would maybe be like the 25% mark, where that's where you kind of get into like the fun and games situation, which the fun and games situation in this is like super clear. Like it's obvious. The promise of the premise, like that's what it's going to be, which will be really fun to write. After that, like I'm not quite sure like what the midpoint would be or anything after that, but I think for the beginning, I've got some solid plot points so far. It is just now 3 o'clock. I'm honestly really surprised that Jade hasn't woken up yet. Usually she wakes up around like 2 and wants to go potty. And then it's sort of like 50-50. Is she gonna go back to her bed and like go back to sleep for a little bit? Or is she just gonna be awake? So I'm really surprised she hasn't made any noise back there yet. I'm gonna work on this, I guess maybe a little bit longer, maybe until she starts waking up. And then after that, it's all bets are off, because who knows? She was a little bit of a mess this morning, frankly. Sometimes it's like if she starts the day and any little thing triggers her, then the rest of the day is like a lost cause. Like it's just gonna be a disaster all day. So we'll see what she's like. when she gets up from her little nap. I wish I could take like a half a day's nap, you know, during the day. That'd be great. But I'm not a dog, so that sucks. So yeah, let me keep plugging away at this for a little bit longer.
Yeah, you excited? Are you excited to go potty? Yeah, come on, let's go potty. What are you doing? Let's go potty. Jade, come on. Jade, let's go potty.
Of course, literally like 3 minutes after I film that, Jade decides it's time to wake up. So took her out to potty. She's maybe settling down for another little bit of a nap. Maybe. She's whining out there, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to try to keep working for a little bit longer, and then we're probably going to be done for the day. All right, I think that's about it for today. Yeah, I'm definitely sort of looking at the murky middle section at the moment, and it's definitely very murky. I'm just gonna let that marinate in my brain for the rest of today, and hopefully I can make some more progress on this tomorrow. I've done good today. I'm very pleased. I've been frustrated, like I said, through a lot of this week. It's just hard to really get deep into brainstorming when you only have like 30 minutes here and like 15 minutes here and maybe an hour here. But having like this really long period of time to really think about it hardcore has been good. A+ for today for me. Dink. And hopefully tomorrow will be another A+ day. I'll see you then. Hi. So it's Thursday. It's Thursday. The plan was to vlog for you on Sunday. And I did actually have a short little clip from Sunday, but I uploaded it to my computer to like edit with it, and there's all this like staticky, fuzzy stuff in the background. Like, I don't know what happened with the audio. Hopefully this clip will not have that. But in any case, I was so exhausted. Okay, so this week has been not great in terms of progress. Well, I don't know. Here's what's happening. Jade, our little special dog, has decided that waking up between 2 and 5 in the morning to go potty is a good choice for her. And so I am taking this dog outside at like 3 in the morning to go potty, because if I don't take her outside, she will pee in the bed, which is an even bigger problem. In her bed. She's not in my bed. We're being woken up in the middle of the night to take a dog to go to the bathroom. And the problem for me is I'm like, we have to go outside. I'm getting up out of bed. I'm walking outside. I'm doing like fine motor skills to put her leash on her while we go out there, blah, 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 blah. So by the time we come back inside and I get her back in her bed and I get back in my bed, I'm awake. I am awake, and there have been days this week where I've been awake since 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. So I've been very tired all week long. And on Sunday was the worst day because she woke up at 2 in the morning and I did not go back to sleep after that. I've been trying to do work, but I don't know what's going on with her this week. She's just a disaster for sleeping, at least. So I have done some work. It's been mostly research work, but when I tell you that newspapers.com has taken over my life, I am not joking. Okay, I did a ton of research into the Royal Academy exhibition on that website on like whenever it was, Saturday, Sunday, Monday kind of time frame. And then I kind of exhausted it. I had done so many different like versions of the same search to try to find any new pieces of info I could find. Ooh, and I found a lot of cool stuff, so that's great. But then I still had like several days left on this free 7-day trial or whatever. So I was like, let me just look up some of my own relatives, because like that'd be cool to find newspaper. I found so much stuff. My grandma was like, Miss Popular in Oklahoma, and she is in so many newspaper articles. And then I was looking up like other ancestors from like the 1800s and stuff. You guys, I found so much cool stuff. So even if you're like, I'm not writing a historical research whatever novel, like look at this website. I thought it was so cool. I love all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I have found a lot of things and just spent literal hours not doing novel writing things, but looking up my mom's birth record from Hawaii, like whatever, all this weirdo stuff. So anyway, it's been very fun. I have done a little bit more work this week. I'm trying to dig into the character, like backstories and, you know, what are their flaws, what are their positive traits, like all that kind of thing. So it's slow going. It's very slow. I don't feel like I've had a day where it's like, woof, I am just like going on all cylinders or something. I don't know. Part of that might then be because I am still very tired because I haven't gotten full night's sleep all week. In any case, I did need to actually like wrap this up. So there's your wrap up. I will be back next week with hopefully more coherent vlogging stuffs. But for now, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, you can click the subscribe button. I post videos on Fridays. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you next time. Bye.